telling you I've got no. Oh my good lord! Wait, let me fix this a second. Sound. Oh my God. Can you believe I've been ranting for the last 15 minutes? I'm pissed. I'm really pissed. Really pissed. Flick of a switch. Flick of a switch. Maybe I think the universe is working against me tonight, but we're going to do it again, right? So good evening, everybody. For you who missed out on that, I'm going to go again. So let me wind this back again. So my thoughts on this is that Spence versus Crawford, the fight that everybody wants to see is Spence versus Crawford. If Terence Crawford believes that sitting on that damn couch, if Terence Crawford believes that sitting on that damn couch and talking to the fans who don't care about you, let's get something straight. The fans don't care about you. They care about the fight, right? Those same fans that you're telling, all those fans you're telling about the fight negotiation and talking to Al, while you're doing all that, you've pissed Al Heyman off because it's nobody's business what you and Al talk about. No YouTuber needs to know. No fan needs to know negotiations. 50, 45, 60, 20, 80. I don't give a damn because none of that money's coming my way. Not 1 pence of that money's coming that way. In fact, I'm going to pay money to watch that fight, right? That's the first thing. Secondly, and this is a rant, right? I don't normally talk about Spence, Crawford, and you're going to know why tonight, because I think it's a waste of time and energy, and it's time I'll never get back, and I'll never get those 50 minutes back of talking about Spence versus Crawford. But this is a final for me. So you leave Top Rank, who didn't do you any favors in your career, but you didn't do yourself any favors, because when you were Top Rank, you tried to be Mr. Quiet, Mr. I'm not going to talk much to the media. And in turn, you didn't become a very big ticket seller. And by not being a very big ticket seller, that was a good excuse for people to say, we don't want to fight you. You're not a big ticket seller, and you're not making, you're not bringing in the money that's necessary. And then even Spence's trainer, who's been on this channel over and over again, has said it, alluded to many times, Crawford just doesn't make the money. Spence is the money maker. So Spence is the one, he's the money maker. He's the guy making the money. And then the guys he's fighting are beating up Amir Khan, a smashed up Kell Brook, and then Sean Porter that was more or less retired. I'm not knocking Terence Crawford here. He's a brilliant fighter. Resume is good. But he brings the WBO belt to the table. And what fans? All right? Now, around the negotiating table, what fans? So the fight will have to be, I guess, in Texas, because that's where the money will be made. Spence would be the A side because he's got most of the belts and he's the bigger name and he's the bigger pull. And if we look at the figures, how much Crawford's bringing in, how much Spence is bringing in per fight, the pay-per-view numbers, that says it. It's all. I don't think the Top Rank did Spence any favors, Crawford any favors whatsoever. I'm basically saying this. Whatever Crawford was bringing to the table before he decided to sit on that couch and talk about what he said with Al Heyman and the 25 million hedge fund, before he said all that, the fight may still have happened. Hell no, it ain't happening now. He's pissed Al off. He's damn well pissed Al off. So why would you take the fight? That would have blacklisted Crawford, as far as I'm concerned, as blacklisted. You look at Spence. Spence, if your boss is paying you good money, he's looking after you, You're the golden goose. He's looking after you. You're looking after him. You're not exactly going to walk out on that contract, are you? See, now the only way I see this fight happening, in my opinion, is for Spence and for Crawford to be free agents. But the fact that Al Heyman has said, this fight, nobody touches this fight. So who's going to come in and touch the fight? Eddie Hearn, Ben Shalom, Bob Arum. Who's going to come in and touch the fight? Jay-Z. Who's going to come in and touch the fight? Who's going to touch the fight? The YouTubers who put money together and make the fight happen? It's not happening. It's not happening. The only way this fight happens is if they're free agents. Is Spence going to become a free agent? I don't think so. And Spence, in any way, shape, or form, doesn't want to fight Crawford. Well, Crawford's made it easy for him now. Crawford's made it way easy for him now. And David Adesanya, that is a difficult, dangerous fight. It's a more dangerous fight than Porter. It's a more dangerous fight than Khan. It's a more dangerous fight than Brook. Much more dangerous fight. And if that guy manages to pull the upset on Crawford, you can forget ever talking about Spence versus Crawford. Not happening. And as for Spence, you got the thief in the night, which is Jericho. It's what's his name? Genuine. You know what I'm talking about. Keith Thurman. Keith once upon a time Thurman. You see, you know what I like about Keith? Keith, from the start of his career, was always, his mouth was open. People heard Keith's mouth. You heard Keith's mouth. You heard Keith. And anytime Keith's going to fight, you're going to hear his mouth. I remember when Crawford was fighting on Top Rank, and you didn't even know Crawford was fighting until the week come around because the promotions were so bad. Lomachenko wasn't even undisputed, and he's still not undisputed, yeah? Was getting more promotion for his fights than Terence Crawford, the American, English-speaking. Think about that for a second. So, I don't see the fight happening. I don't. And if Keith Thurman thinks he's going to get in the ring against Spence and not double over from body shots, he can think again. Spence will knock Thurman out with body shots. You think Thurman struggles against good body punches. He's doubled over a number of times. Even his last fight, I think he was hurt by body shots. And you're going to go with a notoriously hard body puncher, a specialist at body punching. And you are older. And you're not even punching the way you used to punch because of injuries. And you're going to go in against Errol Spence. Yeah, I know Spence wants that last strap, but is he going to get it? If Al is his boss and Crawford has pissed off his boss, and Spence really ain't interested in that fight, I don't see the fight. I don't see the fight happening. I don't see the fight happening unless Spence pulls away. Unless Spence pulls away from Al and becomes a free agent, the fight doesn't happen. I think Spence should double over Thurman, move up to light middleweight. That's what I think you should do. Might not be so easy to become the light middleweight champion of the world, or super welterweight champion, but he should do it. He needs to move up. Okay, so how can you blame Bud for this? Well, you can blame Bud for this in a number of ways. So, for those who don't know, so I was the first guy in the UK to actually interview Bud Crawford. In fact, if you go and look at the Bud Crawford info, it's probably still got the longest interviews with Bud Crawford. And that's when Bud Crawford wasn't even talking and doing long interviews. He was just doing like 3 or 4 minute interviews. So go and listen to those interviews. Okay. those interviews back then, Bud wasn't doing many interviews. And his interviews were short and sweet. And he was trying to keep himself as the quiet man of boxing. And he didn't want to say much. And when he was at Top Rank, he didn't do a lot of talking. So now he's talking a lot more now because he's free from Top Rank and he's doing his own thing. And the first time he comes out and talks like that freely, he's pissed off Errol's boss. And he's talking about what Errol's boss said. Not good. I hope BK Prime or whatever they are, I hope they don't crash like Triller did. I hope they pay their money. I hope they pay Crawford his money, and I hope they pay Broner his money. I hope, because I believe, is it Mike Tyson still waiting for money from Triller? I don't even got paid. So I don't know. So I don't know how much Crawford wants to fight. I can assure you he probably wants it more than Spence does. Spence is getting paid well. He's getting the fights. He's a draw. He's the golden goose. So you tell me. Crawford's the guy on the outside looking in. The best thing Crawford could have done, honestly, was sign with PBC. Because you know if he signs with PBC, the fight will get made. You've seen so many in-house fights. Andrew Ruiz, Luis Ortiz. That's one. There are many fights that PBC have had guys fight. Danny Garcia, Keith Thurman, Sean Porter, Danny Garcia, Sean Porter. So you've seen the fights happen. And I thought that Crawford would leave Top Rank and sign with PBC. Now, yeah, you really want that fight, you sign with PBC on a 1-fight, 2-fight deal and take that fight with Spence. That's what I thought was going to happen. I don't know contractually what that would have got Crawford into sign with PBC and why he refused to sign with PBC, or whether he considered it, or if he considered it and he walked away from it. But that would have been the number one route into getting into the fight. And if Al is saying no one touches that fight but me, then that means it's an in-house fight. So there are no losers with the in-house fight. Al is always the winner. So if Spence loses, he's still got Crawford. If Crawford loses, he's got Spence. And if either of them lose, or either one of the two of them lose in that fight, there's always a possibility of a second fight and a third fight and a lot of money for PBC. Think about that for a second. So when he says nobody else touches this fight, it makes sense. What do you think of BLK Prime? I like that name, BLK Prime. What do I think of them? I'll let you know after the fighters have been paid, if they get paid. I hope BLK Prime really has the money to pay these guys, or it's going to be egg on everyone's faces. Yep. Imagine they were just there to divert Crawford from Spence fighting Crawford. Just imagine that. And just to just get in the way of Spence Crawford fights being set up. Imagine, just for a second. Just imagine. But I don't have much hope for this fight, if I'm honest with you. I don't. I think we will see, if we're going to see this fight, if I'm deadly honest with you, I think if we see this fight, we're going to see a similar sort of Pacquiao Mayweather situation. That's how I kind of see it happening. So, and it's not like they're getting any younger, those guys. You know, you've got Boots Ennis in the division, dangerous. You've got Ortiz in the division as well. So there's some guys in the division that could cause some problems. Now, I'm not saying that Boots Ennis is the next Sugar Ray Leonard. No, I'm not telling you that. I think Boots is a good fighter. And I would like to see Boots Ennis fight Keith Thurman. But Thurman's smart. He's not going to fight Boots Ennis. As he gets ruined by Boots Ennis, that's the end of Keith Thurman. So Thurman would rather fight Spence, because he knows what he's going to get when he fights Spence. So there. Good luck to both guys. I hope Spence takes a fight with Thurman. That will bring in more money. Thurman versus Spence will bring in more money, and it'll be a pay-per-view fight. And yeah, I'll watch that fight. I definitely will go and watch that fight. Definitely. Keith Thurman's not the fighter he was, but believe me, he'll talk up the fight. He'll talk the amount of rubbish. He'll talk all sorts of amount of rubbish to sell that fight. I remember telling Keith that he reminded me of David Haye, and he has got a lot of David Haye-isms. He's got a lot of Haye-isms. Absolutely. The one fight a year, they're in and out of boxing. The shit talking, he really is the miniature version of David Haye. He really is. Said it to before. And the more and more I see Keith, the more and more he's actually morphing into David Haye in the way he conducts his business. But good luck to him. If that's the way he wants to conduct his business and fight once a year, he's going to pay for that. He's getting older, and bring his fight always back down to welterweight. He needs to be fighting regular, and it's going to hurt him a lot when he has to pull himself down to welterweight and then face Spence. It's going to be ugly for him. But anyway, good luck to Crawford. Good luck to Spence. And if this fight can be made, it won't be without a groveling apology from Crawford to Al Heyman. But for me, as of this point, I'm sure now that Crawford would have got himself blacklisted. And I'm sure if he had PR around him, they would have advised him not to have said the things he said. Because those people that you're talking to, those fans that you're talking to, if you're laying in a hospital bed, injured badly from boxing, all those fans that are so interested in the fight, I assure you, will not have a care in the damn in the world about you while they're watching the next fight. That's just the way boxing is. So, as I've said in boxing, it's a saying I've heard, and for the most part, I believe it. If you want loyalty, get a dog. In boxing, for the most part, you're looking after yourself. Right, that's it. That's me. Those are my thoughts on Crawford versus Spence. I'm sure there are people in America that would know more about this and probably tell me I'm waffling, talk a whole heap of rubbish. But I just think the both of them being free agents, the fight happens. There's nobody in the way. It's just getting it promoted. That would be the thing. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section. As always, don't forget to rate, subscribe, leave a comment, share the video. Please share the video. All right. This is BWTM Sports. Have a great weekend. And don't forget to check out my interview, my last interview I did on Tuesday on national television, talking about the success I've had with the teams I've been coaching. Do check that out. It's on the channel now. Again, thank you so much as always. I appreciate you. Take care.